Happy Halloween! Time to celebrate with a look at a mediocre exorcism movie. Hi everybody, Anthony here from Awesome Anthony Productions, and today we're going to talk about Pray for the Devil. But before we get started, go ahead and scroll down, hit the like button so I know that you're here, subscribe, ring the bell so that you never miss any of my content. You can also find the links to my Instagram and my TikTok in the description below. Let's get into it. Pray for the Devil centers on somebody. Shit, what's her name? I need my iPad. Sister Anne believes she's answering a call to be the first female exorcist. But who or what called her? In response to a global rise in demonic possessions, Anne seeks out a place in an exorcism school reopened by the Catholic Church. Thrust onto the spiritual frontline with fellow student Father Dante, played by Christian Navarro, Sister Anne finds herself in a battle for the soul of a young girl who Sister Anne believes is possessed by the same demon that tormented her own mother years ago. Alright, from the first 5 or 10 minutes, you know that this film is predictable, paint by numbers, and just full of cliches. I could tell exactly where it was going. Jacqueline Byers gives a good lead performance as Sister Anne, although she does make this face a lot when she's trying to look, I guess, sullen or perturbed or something. At the end of the day, regardless of what I say about this movie, it's really just mediocre and nothing we haven't seen before. I never even saw a trailer for this movie. I just saw that it was a horror movie coming out the week before Halloween, so I wanted to go check it out so that I'd have a video to put out on Halloween. Yeah, I was bored out of my fucking mind through so much of this movie, and it's because jump scares are about 90% of the scares that are in this movie, and you're basically just waiting for the next one to happen. And whenever something comes in to have to do with the plot, you know exactly what the twist is the second that it's introduced. There's foreshadowing within the first 5 or 10 minutes that tells you exactly how the movie's gonna end, too. You're basically just sitting there listening to this plot, experiencing a lot of research scenes. You know what I'm talking about. The scene that's in so many of these types of movies where there's a demon or there's a monster or something and the main character has to figure out what it is. So they have the time where they're researching, looking online, looking through tapes or whatever. There's like a good 4 or 5 of those types of scenes in this movie, and my god, they just dragged on so long. It's almost like the filmmakers knew that this was kind of boring because they decided to add in this tacked on exorcism scene about halfway through the movie that is introduced about 2 minutes before it actually happens, so it literally just feels like it comes out of nowhere. Speaking of the exorcism scenes, however, I will admit that there were a few parts that actually got me just a little bit, but when I watched the trailer after I saw the movie, because I didn't see it beforehand, I realized that those super cool things, most of them were in the trailer to begin with. Like something that I got caught by surprise that I actually thought was pretty cool in one exorcism scene is when Emily is thrown to the ground and her hair starts going down her throat and everybody has to pull it back out. I thought that was awesome, but it was in the trailer, so didn't really have to go see the movie to experience it. As for the rest of the movie, like I said, it's just paint by numbers and bland. Jacqueline Byers gives the best performance since she's the lead. Colin Salmon gives another good performance as the priest that's like in her corner and supporting her and everything.
The citadel has fallen. Black smoke blots out the sun. Because as some of you may already know, we have a female student in the class, only as an observer. So, let's descend into the mouth of hell, shall we?
But he has no character development whatsoever, and Sister Anne's the only one that really even has a backstory. It's surface level at the best, with little hints dropped about her mother and her mother's mental illness or possession or whatever. I'll also admit that it was kind of cool to see an exorcism movie set in current day and see a lot of modern technology and stuff implemented into this hospital that all these people are in. Yeah, the first half is just super boring. There's that 1 or 2 exorcism scenes that are kind of interesting, but the rest of it is just research, boring dialogue, and paint-by-numbers plot that is super predictable. The second half gets a little more interesting once we get towards the end, but like I said, I already knew where the end was going, and when they get to a certain location, I was like, oh, okay, so that thing that you heard a professor talking about within the first 5 minutes of the movie, that I thought, okay, now that I've just heard that, that's definitely where the movie is going to end up. That's exactly where the movie ended up. And the climax itself was just kind of boring too. I mean, there's nothing really interesting going on in this film. And like I said, nothing that you haven't seen before. And even the ending, you think it's going to be a happy ending. It's like, okay, let's try to get things back to normal here. And then they do a tacked on, dark, ambiguous ending that so many horror movies have nowadays, and it feels like they just threw that in there because the studio said, hey, all the popular movies are doing this now, so make sure you throw that in there too. That scene, along with the exorcism scene that I mentioned earlier that just came out of nowhere, felt so tacked on. Honestly, I came out of this movie feeling the same way I did about Winchester, and most of you will probably not even know what that movie is. That came out a few years ago too, and this was another one that was just boring. There's some cool set design, there's good performances, there's occasionally a good scare here or there, But just like that same movie, Winchester, Pray for the Devil is about 90% jump scares, and they're almost never effective. It's usually something like someone in a room and ah! If that scared you, then this movie might freak you out a little bit. If that didn't scare you, then you're gonna be sitting there bored out of your freaking mind just like I was. So it's definitely not the worst thing I've seen all year. It's got good performances, a couple good scares, some good cinematography, but it ends up just kind of being mediocre. And in a year like 2022 that has given us such fantastic horror movies like Barbarian, Pearl, Smile, The Black Phone, and X, mediocre just isn't really enough to stand out. And honestly, I came out of that movie feeling bored and like I wasted my time, and that's enough for me to not really recommend it. Maybe if you have a membership like I do, where I was able to go to Regal and only spend 50 cents on the convenience fee, it might be worth it. But as it stands, Pray for the Devil is something that's probably going to end up on Netflix in a few months, and when that happens, that's the best time to get drunk with your friends and just laugh at it. Because if you look at it as kind of a schlocky B movie with good effects and good cinematography and better acting than most B movies, it kind of works. But if you're just looking at it as a straightforward horror movie, it's kind of a waste of your time. So yeah, that's my review of Pray for the Devil. A bland, mediocre, paint-by-numbers, and predictable horror movie that we would have seen plenty of about 5 or 6 years ago, but horror has become so great and so elevated in the last few years, this really just falls to the bottom of the barrel. Thanks for watching, everybody. I've been Anthony from Awesome Anthony Productions. Happy Halloween, and that's the end of Spooktober! Wow, I didn't say that right. That's the end of Spooktober! Thank you so much for sticking with me. I really appreciate all the support I've gotten this year since I started my YouTube channel back up in February, something like that. I've gotten hundreds of subscribers, so many views, so many comments. It's just really encouraging to know that I can put all this time, effort, and love into something that I'm passionate about and see all this response. So anyway, if you like this review, you know exactly what to do. Please go ahead and leave a like, scroll on down, comment, tell me what you thought of the movie if you saw it, or what you thought of the review, or if you saw any other horror movies this year that bored the crap out of you. And while you're down there, you can also subscribe, ring the bell so that you never miss any of my content. You can also find the links to my TikTok and my Instagram in the description below. Yeah, that's it. Not really sure what my next review is going to be. I think Black Panther comes out next week, so I'm going to have to figure out something to see this week so I can bring you guys more of that delicious, juicy content that you love so much. Oh, and my food's here, so yeah, see ya!